What is happening, church? Today, I am coming to you with this is a really completely unscheduled kind of thing, clearly, as you will see here momentarily. I do have my coffee, as always. I might have a slight problem, but we weren't going to go there right now. What I want to talk to you about is some things that, some thoughts I had, and they are on the topic of prayer. And so, because I'm 6 years old, everything's got to be a joke. So I had to throw up the thoughts and prayers thing. If you know me, that is something that kind of like rubs me the wrong way because a lot of times that seems like it's all that ever happens is we say, "Oh, you're in my thoughts, you're in my prayers," but we don't go anywhere with it. Well, we're gonna try to get past that, and I'm gonna try to help us get past that. Most people don't do that. I think most people genuinely are concerned, and honestly, as when they remember, they do pray. I have a lot of friends who, when you ask them to pray about something, they stop right there and do it, which actually may be the best route. I guess as long as you're not driving. So I guess that would be situational, right? So one of the things in line with that I'm actually doing this video for is I kind of want to. I really want to open this up. I want to make this more of a community. If you've seen any of my other like traditional videos, that's something that I've been moving towards, year by year, kicking and screaming. This idea of building a community, don't laugh, don't laugh. The idea of, building a community, and I feel like that this, especially through the ability to do things with live interaction, like right now, if you were watching this live, you could jump on the chat and we could, go back and forth. And also with technology, we literally have the ability to all to visit with each other face to face. So because we can do that and, it doesn't really cost any money, this is free. I want to kind of push towards that. So in an effort to accomplish said goal, I want to start by accumulating from people who are viewing, and whether you're viewing it live or viewing it on the rebroadcast, if you are comfortable and you're not, you don't want them to remain private, which I know happens a lot. There's a lot of things you just don't want, you don't want to air it out there. A lot of problems that we individually have that we privately struggle with. We don't really want everybody knowing, hey, guess what? I can't, stop lusting after my wife or my neighbor's wife. You should lust after your wife, but not your neighbor's wife. Let's get that right. So there is each an email listed down below in the comments and in the about section. It's a TGIK questions at gmail.com. Probably should have put a banner up for that, but it will be down in the comments below for sure. And then you can send me a private link there as you know, it's email. You can just send me a private email and let me know what is going on and what you need prayer for. And then along with everyone that's involved, and this is me doing my thing, but I'm also tied into several other communities that are doing a similar thing. And so I will take your prayer request and we will all come together and pray for this stuff. There's terrible times are probably coming our way. The poop is probably about to hit the fan and things are probably going to get worse and not better. So we need to be able to come together as a community and support each other, and not only in thoughts and prayers, which is vitally important. I say that flippantly, and I know I've got that stupid look on my face. That's not what I mean. It's not meaningless, but, it is a situation to where, oftentimes it's hands and feet projects, and that's really what I am working towards, is the ability to come together and not just pray for one another, but to physically be able to interact and help one another. So along with, any prayer requests that you might have, one of the things that I always wanna make sure that gets included whenever it comes to kind of I just wanted to say this part of the service, because that's kinda where we're headed. Uh, when it comes to this part of a ministry is that we need to remember that, to keep track. Okay, so we are real quick. me, like, seriously included, we're real quick to jump and say, "God, help me with this," or "Church, I need you to help me pray about this, that, or the other," which is perfectly fine and totally biblical, and we should be doing that, but and we don't really keep track, and so we're not really, like, watching what's the result, and so keep a journal and don't you're not gonna remember in your head, sorry. I mean, you're just not. Just get a little notepad out or something. Get on your phone and in your notes on your phone and put in prayer request on this date. And then when God moves in that situation, then you can go back to it and say God moved and then you can share with other people and more importantly than sharing with other people, to be brutally honest, is a way for you to be able to remind yourself when you're going through situations where you're asking for God's help and you need God's divine hand to move in a supernatural way, but you're not seeing him move. You can go back to that and go, you know what? I remember and I was here and, poo was flying, but then this happened and everything was okay. Or everything wasn't okay, but God still helped me through it, and I still survived, and here I am today. You know, sometimes the things that we encounter, uh, are for a reason. They're part of a process or part of a learning process. This is just for me, and I'm sure this doesn't apply to you because, no one else repeats the exact same process they keep stumbling with their entire life. I know. But I think for me, what it has been is that, there was a lesson that he had to bring me to that even though it was, like, right in front of me, like, literally, like, on the words on the page, it was literally in the scripture what God was trying to get me to do, I just wasn't it wasn't going from my head to my heart. And it was through these struggles and trials that, I had to actually learn that, "No, you're going to do it." This is God speaking to me, effectively speaking to me, saying, "No, you're going to do it my way, or it's not gonna get done. You're not going to reinvent the wheel. You're going to do what I ask you to do because it's what I made you for. It's what I designed you for. It's what you're best suited for." It always reminds me of the Star Trek, with, Spirk. See, it's like, the J-Lo, when they put, Affleck and I can't even remember what that is, but I just made up one. Anyway, when Captain Kirk and Spock were talking, and Spock tells Kirk, The best use of you is what you're doing." I believe I'm not saying my belief comes from Star Trek, but that ideology kinda is proved out in scripture that there are certain things that only you can do. So, only you what you should do is the things that only you can do. And so what is your skill set? What are you made for? That's the things we're gonna come together and talk about. Because again, it's about building community. It's about finding, strengths and, ferreting out weaknesses. And I say this a lot because honestly, it's been something that I have struggled with probably most of my life, if I wanna be honest with you, is saying that I was doing something, but actually not doing anything. It was talking, but not working. It was, uh, uh, wanting credit for the intent. You dig what I'm saying? I wanted to get, I guess, results to happen because I sat and contemplated doing actual work, which is kinda how the thoughts and prayers go in there. There are lots of times where praying is just all you can do. There's nothing you can do. And so literally it is the sending the good vibes kinda idea, of praying for, a person's comfort in a time that is just, hard for any of us to really be able to deal with. But, there are many, many other things that happen that we have the ability to affect a change on. That we do get the kinda admonition in the New Testament that if your neighbor comes to you and says, "Hey, you know what? A company just stopped in out of town, and I ain't got a bite to feed them. Can you give me some of your bread?" Give me something to feed them real quick because especially in that time and culture, being inhospitable was not acceptable. But we're not gonna go into that right now. I'm running out of time. I'm out of time. But, what you see is you see the guy who's standing there at the door knowing that his neighbor needs this and knowing how important it is for him to be able to provide food for these people, and he looks at him and he goes, be warmed and be filled." Basically, magically you have clothing for these people to keep them warm tonight, and magically you have food to feed them, and then he shuts his door. Okay, that's thoughts and prayers. That's that's saying that you are concerned for someone, having the ability to help that person, but then not doing it. So that's what we don't want this to be. I don't want this ministry to be something where it is just me spouting to you and then you not getting anything other than the lesson that's being taught. I think that the lesson, the example that we get with Yeshua, the example we get with Jesus is that not only did he feed them physically, but he fed them spiritually. And I believe that is my responsibility. So we're going to be working towards that. So as we work towards that, if you have a big empty building that no one's using it for anything and you don't need any money for it, and you might actually be able to help like throw in some other money to help get something like this going. I really am honestly, and I'm laughing and saying this because right now there's a lot of people going, "Yeah, you're dreaming, dude." Yeah, I am. So one thing that I learned from one of my favorite preachers and Bible teachers, who's Keith Johnson from Biblical Foundations International, is when God gives you a vision, He gives the provision, and so that's what I'm stepping out on. One of the reasons why I felt like I needed to do this is because I just want to let you know, as people who are part of this channel, that this is not the end result of this ministry. This is the first steps. And if you'd like to be involved, I'd love to have you come along. If you want to be involved when we do any kind of live streams or anything like that, and you feel like you have something to say, come along. Like I said, feel free to jump into the chat at any time. If you also are someone who's in ministry and you're looking for a place to, you know, uh, get the word out, those of us that are called, we feel compelled to do this. Annoyingly, um, it requires a community to be able to shoulder it. So here's me reaching out. If you have any ideas, if you had any suggestions, things that can be done, let me know. The least that I can do is to bring some attention to it because I'm pretty good at making myself the center of attention, and it's usually never for the right reason. My lord, 52 years old, and I'm compiling all these images, going, wait, they were looking at me for the wrong. I'm playing. I'm just kidding. My mom and dad would have slapped the taste out of my mouth if I would have done something to embarrass them in public. That's a fact. They're both gone. I'm still afraid of them. So what's that mean? All right. Uh, Thanks for stopping in. We will be doing at 11:30. We'll be doing lunchtime live. Be picking up in Matthew. We're still in the first chapter, but we're going to wrap the first chapter up, and then we're going to do an overview of what we kind of the major points that we hit, and then we will kind of move on to as go chapter by chapter. That way, it's easier to keep track. So, all right, read and pray every day. Love you guys. See you in the next time. Bye. Still didn't do it right.